the acre. Some products require 20 gallons to the acre. Some products require that you actually just spray almost in a horizontal fashion. With wheat, there's a fungicide that we put on. So what we're actually trying to do is eliminate the competition so that the crop that we plant can grow well. We don't really get paid for weeds. And so in the spring, it's important to have the ground worked, to get it planted, to get the crop growing so that it can come up through the ground, occupy the space so that it creates a canopy that the weeds really don't have the same chance to get going. But we are conscious of, we get the soil tested, and it's done about every 3 years to know what nutritional products we need to put on. We also, from a spraying standpoint, have to go through a certification course every 5 years to be able to purchase product. So it's not that you just go willy-nilly on all of this saying like, farmers can do this and do that. No, we more than likely have as many rules and regulations. And let's face it, it doesn't make any economic sense for us to put on 200 pounds of fertilizer if we only need 100. We don't have those types of margins. So we're conscious of that, and it's just the way we are. So the sprayer, once we get the crop in, is busy, and because we got several different crops, there's different uses for the sprayer depending on whether there's bugs or whether there's disease or whatever. So in essence, it's kind of like taking a multivitamin. You want to make sure that the crop stays as healthy as it possibly can. And the sprayer will actually open out, as I said, the planters are 30 feet, the sprayer is actually 90 feet. So we have GPS on that, and also section control. There's 6 sections, so every 15 feet, if you're going through a V, it will automatically shut off a section if it senses that it's overlapping. So to say you're wasting spray or putting it on too much, no, it has a way of turning things on and off automatically because of how the GPS is being, it records where your positioning is in the field. That was the question that was asked earlier on, like if we're rolling, are we not compacting the soil? The answer to that would be yes, we are. But when we are out rolling, the soil should be dry enough that it doesn't compact the same way as when it's dry. So when I said we could go out and work these farm fields now, but the soil is too wet. So what that does, it compacts it. The tires on the tractor, it doesn't matter how good they are, will have a compaction aspect. So it's our due diligence to make sure that we go out in the fields when they are ready to go. And the equipment that is out there nowadays, like these are small tractors relative to what's out there. You'll see tractors that have the front tires the same size as the back and the hinge in the middle. These tractors are about 200 horsepower. The other ones go up to 600. So you can just imagine the speed that they can go. They have planters that will go 10 miles an hour nowadays. They're designed to be able to do that. And you can pull an awful lot through the ground, but doesn't necessarily mean that it is dry enough to be able to doing the job right. So it's just, you've got to use, I was going to say common sense when you're doing this so that you minimize the compaction, because if we muck it up in the spring, we've mucked it up for the whole year. And it's kind of like you're just behind the 8 ball in trying to get a good crop. Now, but we've changed it, hook everything together. There's a wiring harness that goes up to signal lights on the back and brake lights, and also for a camera on the back, so that you're trying, and whenever we're hooking up, we turn on the 4-way flashers and make sure that they're working. We do that every single time because sometimes the connection just gets moved. So we try to do our best to keep things safe. So we use these for hauling all the product from the combine into the farm. Back alongside, because it's hard on that front end of the tractor. So we can miss a couple, go over and come down, and because you have GPS, you know you're in the correct width. And it's making gradual turns, so it's far easier on the tractor turning for us. And that's where you do need weight to be able to transfer the horsepower down to the ground. And we are not of a size where we've gotten into tractors. You pay a premium for that. You can get tracks on combines, and I think it might be about $100,000 more for tracks. So it's not just something that we're not in the position to just go out and be able to say, yeah, that's what we want. Yeah. So our combine is, this is the header that we use for combining wheat and the beans, and what the aluminum part is along the front is actually a fan. So there's air that blows through those tubes that actually moves the beans up into the canvases to take it into the combine. Now, as I said, this is 30 feet. This is the smallest combine that they make. Newer headers are the size of that cultivator, which is 44 feet. So that gives you an idea. It's 50% more. The physical combine on the bigger ones, you'll more likely have dual tires on them to be able to handle the extra weight on the header. And again, going down the road, you can't narrow those things in. It's just a fact of life. And that's why some people are going to tracks, because it keeps it narrower.
Wow.
But it's just, they can force a lot more horsepower through the system to make it work. And I don't know if there's any questions on that. Like, what it is, it actually, it's a rotary combine, so you actually have a drum that goes round, and as it goes round, it actually separates the grain from the chaff or from the stalks. And then the grain will go up into the tank, and the chaff will go out the back.
So it's the thing you can see from the side of the road.
Yes.
Being blown up.
Yeah. So it does an excellent job. The corn header, when we're combining corn, really the only material that goes into the combine is the cob of the corn and some husks. The main stalk is all pulled back down into in front of the combine before it goes into the combine. Clockwise and counterclockwise, they pull the stalks down. It's almost like meshing.
Yeah.
And there's bars there, so it actually snaps the cob off the stalk, continues to pull the stalk down, but as it's pulling up, it takes the cob into the combine to be threshed.
Okay.
This is the same concept as a thrashing machine of 100 years ago. The majority of some things on farming, it's just they reinvented the wheel for the size and the current technology that's out there. Yeah. And let's say you could go 3 miles an hour.
Okay.
You multiply the two together. 3 miles an hour times, it's actually 3 feet.
Yeah.
You can do about 9 acres an hour.
Wow.
There's more complicated if you want to get right down. But to all of a sudden get an idea what capacity do you have or how long is it going to take you to finish a field.
Yeah.
You used to call them dirty thumb rules. And they're very easy to deal with. So if we can do with wheat 9 acres an hour, then you actually have factor that down because we stop to unload into the wagons. But if you were doing straight combining, that would be, if you're getting 100 bushels of wheat to the acre, that'd be about 900 bushels, and that would we're hauling 800 bushels in one of those pairs of wagons. So we normally figure we're doing a pair of wagons in an hour.
That's a lot.
How many wagons do you have?
We have 3 sets like that and a couple of other ones for various other purposes.
So when you're actually doing it, you come and you drop the two and pick
No,
up 2 empty
we have 2
ones, or-
tractors that hook onto the front of 2 sets of wagons, and we have another set of wagons in the field. And so when Bonnie's hauling, she'll come up here and take off the wagons. She'll go back to wherever it is that we're harvesting, and it doesn't matter what crop. She just stops that tractor, gets into another tractor, she'll start it, check to see that the 4-way flashers are working, and then she brings that home. So there's no switching around of tractors. We're just getting to the stage, Greg, climbing in and out of stuff and hooking and unhooking. It gets harder on the body, and the other thing is that's where mistakes can happen.
Okay.
When you think of hooking the tractors up to the planter, there's numerous hoses and monitor wiring harnesses. You just don't want to all of a sudden pull the tractor away and find out that you have forgotten to unhook everything. So for us, we just have a tractor in front of each one of the wagons. So it simplifies life for us and it makes it safe.
Loaded those wagons?
Oh, we have augers that actually transfer the grain from the wagons up into the top of the bins, and it virtually it's just that simple. It's just an auger system. Well, actually, there's an auger there. The reason why it's there, we'll be shipping out some corn this week, so it goes at the base of those bins, and there'll be an auger to unload the bins coming out the base, and then that yellow auger will transfer from the base of the bin up into a truck. And we put the small tractor over there. It doesn't take that much horsepower, so a small tractor works great for being able to operate that. A few years before that, and actually on 88 Highway where Osler School is, that's on the back of Dad's home farm. So I've said to Robert Keffer a few years ago, if you ever rename 5 Side Road, you could actually call it West Way, because a West has owned property on 5 Side Road longer than anybody else as a surname. Because we go back a long ways down there, going back to the Scotch settlement days. And Dad bought this farm back in the middle 40s, I guess it would be. And as I said, this is where I've lived all my life, except for a few years away doing this and that.
It's interesting to see what equipment you had then and what you
Well,
have
actually,
now.
that little red tractor,
Yeah, that's what I thought I'd
okay,
see here.
it's the smallest combine. Any idea what it might be worth? Just the combine.
Not a clue.
1.2.
Okay, that combine's worth more than likely $600,000. You could spend $500,000 on that tractor. You could spend $100,000 easy on that cultivator.
Steve's saying that that's not
No,
the
it's not
header.
the header.
Yeah, that just allows you to have a combine. You could spend $750,000 on a self-propelled sprayer that has a carbon fiber boom. If you were buying a commercial combine with heads, you'd be thinking of $1 million wouldn't do it.